Get the whole story.
Basically, we're talking about women in business and the challenges that they face. Now, before we went for the break, Rose, Dr. mentioned the key points that one needs to, know of or be aware of before they venture into the business world. But then, just for example, if you walk in Nairobi, the CBD, and you look at the stalls, majority of the businesses are alike. She mentioned the issue of profits. How do you then break even as you talk about value addition? How do you break even? Because no one has a monopoly of an idea.
No. It's hustling, it's true. If you walk in the street of the Nairobi, you find a lot of stalls and people putting just the same products. Everybody maybe doing beauty products or doing shoes, clothing. And sometimes you wonder, how do they get their clientele? And I think that's the challenge we have as Kenyans, because we seem to do the same thing.
Okay.
I find that my friend is doing well. I ventured the same without now realizing maybe he already has an existing clientele.
Yeah.
I tend to think it's a high time we think about being creative and innovative in everything that we do. Like we find that during this season of COVID, people came up with online marketing. You find that it's not necessarily that you really have to have a store for you to be able to sell or reach your clientele. You can be on the digital platform, and then you're just posting your wares or your product, your services, and now you're attracting a clientele depending how you're marketing your product. I tend to think we need a lot of innovativeness in the way we're doing our businesses, in a lot of creativity, and we need to be original. If you are to really break away from the monotony of same business, same product, same service. Like for example, nowadays you don't have to go to a salon to have your hair done or your nails done. A lot of vendors nowadays who are motorbike, they get to where you are, in your office or your home, and you're taken care of, and they make their money. So we need to have innovative ways of doing our businesses. And we need also to realize the clientele today is different of the clientele of yesterday. Yeah. So how do we reach our clientele? The delivery now is the order of the day. Actually, most people don't need a store for you to sell your products. Just meet you online you package yourself well, and you put yourself in a few forums, and you just post your product, your services, and people look for those services. So it's a high time we just break away from the tradition of everybody having a store, selling from the stores, and think of how else we can do it. And then let's be different. And let me not do the same business as you're doing. Okay. If I'm doing here in Italy, can I have a different menu? Can I pack in my menu in a different way? For example, the people have put their menu online, and you look at the menu online and say, I love this, and even the appealing, the way the presentation is very appealing, and they say, I want to order this from where I am, and it's delivered and packaged well in a nice way. So we need to launch our business to the next level that it becomes attractive, so that as Kenyans, we can also be able to compete with the foreign-based. For example, eateries, because also that sometimes you become give an example of eateries. There are some that are preferred because they have a big name. How do you also as Kenyan women build those big? Because really, kitchen is ours as women. Yes. We should pride in that. So if we do an eatery, I should be having the best in the city that really can compete with everybody. And behold, and we've got enough clientele. We've got enough people wanting to buy our product. Okay. But the problem is competition. We're not able to have any unique thing about our business. So every business for women, what we're encouraging us we have is to ensure that our women businesses have a sustainable advantage over competitive advantage of other businesses. Okay. That is, their product is a rare product. It's not with anybody else. It cannot be substituted by any other product. And at the same time, it can't be easily copied, because when I've done my yogurt and I put coffee, there's no any other in the market. It's of its kind. And I constantly keep on putting in new ideas, innovating. People want something different, a different experience. And so we need to be hyping our game. And it's so much run from the online. I can go online, I pick an idea, and I pick this idea, I do a feasibility study of that idea. There are opportunities all over. And after these opportunities, we source for these opportunities. We need to screen these opportunities and find, are they viable? Is it a business or just an idea that can't take me anywhere. And I keep on, adding more opportunities. In other words, more opportunity into the existing, because we need to expand horizontally or vertically.
Okay.
And it's important, yes.
All right, I hear what you're saying, but equally, I don't know if I should be the devil's advocate just for a bit. Yes, we should be original, but let's not forget this is Kenya, number one. Copycats is a reality.
Yeah.
Someone will see a business, it is booming, they will want to do the same business. And to make matters worse, they will offer lower prices. So then everyone wants what's more affordable. They shift from your business, they go to someone else's business. And for us to maintain that high standard, that you're original, you need money, which most people can't afford right now, especially right now. So then how do you go about it? Right now, I'm a woman, I want to sell clothes, but then the store next to me is selling the exact same clothes at a cheaper price. I need to break even. Yeah. And it's not happening. So then that leaves you sort of in limbo. So what should I do again? Let me just close shop. Daktari?
Yeah, I think that is a big challenge because we know that, like we've said, when you go from one shop to another, you may find, even if it's clothes, it's the same type of clothes and so on. But I think somebody has to think probably out of the box. For example, they could think of not that type of cloth and constantly, very frequently change their stock so that they bring the new trends that are coming in and also bring other type of clothes. For example, if one is selling dresses and skirts, somebody can think about other kind of clothing. So somebody will have to be very innovative and change as often as possible to capture the coming trends and also to ensure that they bring in a product which is different from the other person. So it's not a matter of saying I sell dresses and that is what I sell until the end of the year, I'll send next year. It has to be very swift changing. So that is important. Another thing is I know money is a challenge, is access to business finance, but I think as business people, women and any other people that are involved in business will have to think of sources of finance where they can be able to access them the soonest possible so that they can change their stock as quickly as possible to catch up with the changes. Otherwise, you find that the competition will become a big barrier.
But even accessing finance, that's equally another challenge.
Oh, yes.
and a very tedious process.
Yes, yes.
How do people navigate through that, especially women?
Yes. One thing that we are doing at the WeHub is to create awareness of the funds that are existing for women businesses, which have been provided by the government, for example. We have funds such as Women Enterprise Fund, we have funds such as UWESO Fund, and even other businesses. So during one of the research that we have done at the Women Economic Empowerment Hub, we found that these instruments are there for women businesses to access. But many women have not been able to access these funds, probably because they don't know about them, or probably because the procedures are tedious for them, or they don't know how to apply and go through the whole process. So there are some opportunities that women can tap into. For example, such kind of funds that are available, public funds that are available to women businesses. We also have funds that are available through the National Government Affirmative Action Funds, or the GAP, where support women who are in groups and who are doing value addition. Such kind of funds would be helpful to women that are engaged in business if they access them. But also, we know that women can be able to access funds through different commercial banks because they have special products for women, although again the issue of interest rate becomes a challenge. So those are some of the opportunities that women can be able to tap into. We've also, from our research, we've also been looking at women understanding of the credit guarantee scheme in Kenya, which has been provided by government for businesses during the time of COVID-19 is one of economic stimulus packages for small and medium enterprises in Kenya. So we found that actually women businesses are not accessing these funds so much. About 16% of access is by women. And actually women may not even know that such funds exist. They are not really funds. This is a credit guarantee scheme. You can borrow money, and the issue of collateral is catered for by the government to up to 25%. So those are some of the opportunities which women businesses can tap into, and then they'll be able to get money that is needed to expand their businesses or to be able to carry out the activities that they want to do, for which they need finances.
Okay, you've brought about the government, and I want to know about the policies. We have a lot of policies towards, entrepreneurship, but then are they specifically effective for women?
It's a really interesting question, that's right. Because really policies have been there forever.
Yeah.
Actually, the SME policies, we can trace them back in 1965, when after the colonial government, that was the first secession paper. It was meant now to Africanize the business or enterprises, because initially they were held by the colonial government. And moving on to 1986, we had the first session paper, actually called it 10, that was also meant now to grow small and SMEs and other ones. And it actually gave provision on access to finance, to market, and one of the activities around the same time, incubation, women incubation programs were advocated by the session paper in 1986. So we can actually see that way back from 1986, a lot has been happening when it comes to policies. The 1992 session paper one now is actually where the particular one that looked at creating an enabling environment that we have all been talking about, that we have no enabling environment to do business in Kenya because the taxes are very high, the registrations are too many, the licenses are cumbersome, punitive and all that. And that is one that actually advocated to create an enabling environment for all women, youth, everybody to be able to do businesses in Kenya. And one of the things I admire about particular one, it also talks a lot about access to finances, and it gives what Dr. has talked about.
Okay.
It also talks about access to technology, because by then technology was a thing that we cannot actually run away from. It's here with us. We just have to embrace as and grow our businesses through technology. And it is also one of the things I admire about it, the gender issues. The gender issues was that we can now look at women differently from men.
Yeah.
In fact, it was about gender, women, youth, and people living in disability. And so from that 1992, a lot of gender policies have been developed, all going along. In fact, like the 2005, we have the policy that was trying to correct now the gaps of the 1992. And we find that it's talked a lot about women and how they can access finances, they can do the markets. And we also come now the latest 2020 by the Ministry of Industrialization and Trade and Enterprise Development that is actually still just picking on the same and trying to now, close those gaps. So session paper, the policies have been there on women entrepreneurship, and some that are specific to the gender, women, other ones. But as you find, the gaps are still there. They've been there, a lot has been done. Actually, I can't say nothing has been done, but the gap is still there. And that's why we listen to the women economic empowerment recovery strategy by the Department of Gender. And what it's trying to do, that is for 2020, 2030, is trying to look at these gaps that have been existing, yet we have been policies that have been existing, and yet we have gaps, like women are not able to access this of credits that was way, advocated with the session paper or the policy paper way back in 1986, 1992, 2005, and we are here now, 2022. The gaps are still there. So the issue is how do we close these gaps? And that's the reason why we're saying now what the WEAV is trying to do is trying to support the governments. Actually, WEAV has been part of the recent documents on the women economic empowerment recovery strategy, so that we can all team up, the governments, the financial institutions, all entities that are interested in the issues of women, gender, and economic empowerment, to see to it that we close this gap, because the policies have been existing and there are some that have been specific to women, but the gaps are still there. We are not able to access the markets as intended. the finances as intended. Technology is still a challenge. Most women businesses are still not formalized because still licenses is a tall order. They are expenses. The taxes are very high. How can we ensure that maybe women, we waive some of these taxes when it comes to women business, especially the startup, because you're meant to do your VAT, you're meant to do your returns as an entrepreneur, you're meant to do, end of year. There's so many. So if you look at it, in fact, if you look at the percentage, we just analyze what's the business, we realize that almost percentage of the profit from money we make goes into. We're not refusing to pay taxes, they're important for the government, but how do we take care of those startups, those women, small macro businesses to ensure that they don't have, we can classify, can this be exempted? Can we have this and all that? So that was just saying that policies have been there, yes, and especially in SME entrepreneurship, and we find that entrepreneur policies have been handed on top. And still to address the issue of when it comes to economic inequality, when it comes to women and economic empowerment. And so we is there to try to see can they empower women so that they can be able to be advocate for these policies so that they can be more enabled to create more an enabling environment for women in business.
All right. Dr. I'll let you have the final word, even as we conclude. So then what's the way forward for women, especially in business? We have gaps that are yet to be addressed. It might take time to address them, but still that doesn't stop women from, entering this world of entrepreneurship. Going forward, what can we do? And also, even as you conclude, maybe you can tell us more about women economic empowerment.
Thank you so much. Going forward, really, there are many opportunities for women in business in Kenya, and women should go ahead, and tap into the current opportunities that are provided through the public policy. For example, when you look at the access to government procurement opportunities, those are other business opportunities which are provided by the policies of Kenya. So women businesses should be able to venture into that and be able to make tenders to supply to government entities, ministries or whatever agencies, whether it is in road construction, whether it is in supply of services or whatever goods the government needs. Women businesses should be able also to venture into that and take advantage of such opportunities that are set ahead for them. Another thing which is important as a way forward is for government to consider, putting into place, or every time there is budgeting, like now recently the budget has been read, to take into account budget that support women businesses. We've talked about the Women Enterprise Fund, Uwezo Fund, and so on. Government should take into account to increase such funds so that women have a larger share when it comes to that business, because we find currently that those opportunities are there, but they are really limited, such that when women want to access those funds, because women have been able to access them, the monies they can be able to access are limited, such that they are not able to do much with them. To expand their businesses. So those are some of the areas. And also at the Women Enterprise Fund, at the Women Economic Empowerment Hub, what we are doing is to incubate women businesses to ensure that they get training, skills development, and also link them to markets and to networks. Find you? Sorry?
Where can women find you?
Women can find us at the University of Nairobi. Women Economic Empowerment Hub is a program at University of Nairobi. And with our incubation program, we want to link women to businesses, to business finance, to prepare them so that they are credit worthy or they are ready to access finances, and also to ensure that their business skills that they need for value addition to do their business profitably, and also to link them to mentorship, which is important for their businesses to grow, and also to ensure that they get linkage to both local as well as regional markets, such as markets in East African community and Africa in general.
All right.
Thank you.
That's a really good place to end this conversation. Thank you very much for making time for us here on Morning Prime. Dr. Mary Mbithi, who is a Director of Research at WeHub, which is the Women Economic Empowerment Hub, and Rose Mureithi, a researcher and equally an entrepreneur. I'm Ashley Mazuri. Up next is News Diary.